welcome back to Sextras,
where we talk about sex and all the extras.
I'm Honey and I have a grey hair and I'm only 21.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah.
How embarrassing for you, honey. You're
it
basically
really is
an
quite
old
embarrassing.
woman.
I am. I'm turning into a grandma.
I feel like it's quite cool, you know, that your one silver hair. It's special.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if it was like not all wiry and like broken, but it is.
Okay, well, good to know. Hi guys, I'm Maria, and when I was younger, I matched up my favorite color depending on which was my favorite princess at the time. So like when Sleeping Beauty was my favorite princess, pink was my favorite color, and then when Belle was my favorite princess, yellow was my favorite color, and then there was a period that they were both my favorite princesses. So then my parents painted my room half yellow and half pink because they were both my favorite colors. So yeah.
Oh, that's cute. Your whole personality is just based around Disney princesses.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, pretty much. I mean, if you kind of like went all the way back to like the origin of my psyche, I bet it all goes back to Disney princesses.
True. Which is kind of worrying, to be fair.
Slightly.
Kind of fucked up. Okay. Well, this week we are joined by a very special guest. His name is Manny, and he is a relationship coach. He's going to talk to us about power dynamics and relationships and just share his relationship coach wisdom with us in general. So please welcome Manny.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm excited. Been looking forward to this show for some time now, and I'm ready to share my experience and my expertise and have a good conversation and entertain everyone at the same time. So,
yeah, we're excited too.
Yeah. Do you have a fun fact for us, by any chance?
I actually do have a fun fact. I actually have an identical twin brother. And, you know, it's funny because let's say I'm dating someone or, you know, it could be just, you know, nothing serious. Or vice versa. She could, like, let's say my brother's dating someone. She can see me somewhere in public and I won't know who that is. So she'll text him like, so you just gonna act like you don't know me? And then he'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I saw you today at the gym and you walked right by me. You didn't even say hi or anything. And my brother will have to text me and say, were you at the gym today? And I'm like, yeah, I was at the gym. Why? Yeah, because, you know, or vice versa. You know, it's funny, you know, like, or someone can go up to my brother and say, hey, how you doing? And he'll say, who are you? I don't know who you are. Like, oh, so now you don't know me now. Oh, so we had fun the other day, and now you're just going to act like you don't know me. And my brother's like, I honestly don't know who you are. So he has to, you know, take out his ID. You know, my name is Manuel, he's Miguel, so he's like, see, I'm not Manuel. You know, so that's my fun fact for the day. You know, that's what you have to deal with as a twin.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
That's so funny. Has that actually happened to you, where someone you've dated?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It has actually happened several times to both of us.
Oh my god, has anyone like accidentally like kissed you or something?
Yeah, it hasn't happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I mean, you know, we're pretty good at like, because we are like, we're prepared for it. So if someone just comes up to me, I already know, okay, yeah, she just thinks I'm my brother, vice versa.
Okay,
so you know, we're fully aware of the situation.
That's so funny though. Okay, well, we are going to start the episode off with, we have a couple of segments actually. We asked 2 questions to our listeners, so let's start with the first one, which was, what are your dating pet peeves? And the first one is the awkward conversations before having sex. which
Yeah.
I feel like everyone can relate to.
Like the awkward chat, like before, like in a booty call, when you all know what you're there for, but you like have to just have that awkward conversation before, like, oh, I wonder when it's like gonna actually happen. I hated that. I literally hated that. It's like
Yeah.
enough of a reason to not even go to the booty call sometimes. Like if the guy's chat
If the
is
chat's
that
too
shit.
awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it depends on the person as well. Like sometimes you're with a guy and he's like really wants to talk before you have sex, and then other guys are just obviously like not interested, so you have to like find the balance, because sometimes I've gone to like a booty call and been like, okay, like, should we go now, you know? And they're like, what do you mean, like you don't want to talk first? And then it's just
Yeah.
really awkward, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's sit down, let's catch up, like, how's your mum? Like, how's things going?
Yeah, it could be awkward because you have to know who's gonna make the first move, or have an hour conversation first, or get straight to the point. It's
Yeah.
like some people, they rather just get straight to the point. Some women, they'll feel offended if you go straight to the point, and some women, they'll just get bored if you don't go
Exactly.
Yeah.
straight to the point. So it's like,
You have to know your limit.
and you have to be good at like body language, and you just have to. Yeah, everyone's been through those awkward situations.
For sure.
Okay, next one. When they constantly say stuff like, I don't know why you're with me, I'm punching. It's just so cringe inducing and annoying. Like, have a bit of confidence in yourself, please. It's such a turn off. Yeah.
What do you mean by
Yeah.
punching? You said I'm punching.
In the UK, when you say punching, it's like when you know you're dating someone that's like better looking than you. So
okay.
Yeah, or like people will say that about other couples, like, oh, that guy's definitely punching.
Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
punching above his weight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you not have that in America?
we just say, you're dating out of your league.
Yeah, I guess it's like out of your
punching
league, yeah.
better. I like punching better, it's just quicker. But but I personally, I never punch.
I feel like that's like a guy thing though. Like the guy in straight relationships is always uglier than the girl. It's like a thing.
No.
Yeah, it's
A friend of mine
thing.
told me when I was like 18 years old, he said, don't ever outshine your woman. Don't do it. It's like
That's good advice.
Yeah, you don't want to make her feel like she's in competition with you. You know what I mean? Like if you're better looking than her, then she's gonna feel insecure about it. So guys usually don't like to look better than the girl.
I always thought it was because guys are like more shallow than girls. Like they care about looks more, so they're more likely to only date people that they think are really attractive. Whereas girls will like, even if it's like, like I can objectively see this guy isn't that fit, like girls will go more for like good personalities. Whereas I feel like guys care more about looks. But that's just my personal opinion, man-hating opinion. Is I don't actually hate men, but, you know what I mean?
Vendetta. You have a vendetta?
Yeah.
But do you not think so? Like, would you not say that's accurate in some way?
Yeah. I mean, guys definitely, we go for looks more than anything. I mean, it's just in our nature, Women call it shallow, but men, we call it nature. It's just what we do. But I mean, there's a saying: women date who they want, men date who they can. So it's kind of hard for men to punch. You might try to go for a girl that's out of your league, but you might not be able to get her. So it's like, why even try? But a woman, she can go for a guy that's out of her league, and he'll just say, "Fuck it."
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, you might just say whatever, fuck it, like.
But I feel like going back to the submission, even if you know that you're punching, it's so annoying if you just constantly bring it up. Like I feel like it's okay to know it in your head, but it just makes the whole dynamic really awkward and like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough for you, that kind of vibes.
Oh, I hate that.
And then Oh, I hate it so much.
It's
Like,
so
I completely get
awkward.
where this person's coming
Yeah, it's
from.
like, what do you do at that point? Do you tell them, well, you know what? Yes, I am fucking better than you.
Yeah, actually, I'm
Or, you know
better.
what I mean?
Like,
Or do
we
you
should
try to
break up then.
yeah, like if that's how you feel, then fuck you. Or do you like try to console them and reassure them, like, hey, look, I do like you, you know. Like, yeah, I've been there. It's it's very awkward.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next one is guys paying for dates being normalized, especially in a culture where women want to be independent.
Wow.
I'm going to expose this submission
Controversial.
and say that this is from my ex,
Oh, wow.
and on our first and second dates, he tried to pay both times, and then when I tried to pay, it was like a massive deal.
Oh,
So
wow.
I feel like girls do want to pay, and they do want to be independent, but yeah, it is so normalized in dating culture that it's like they don't really get the opportunity, and then when they try, it's like that again, that like awkward dance of who gets to pay, and like, no, it's my turn, no, it's my turn.
I think it's a personality thing. I think we tend to put all women in a certain category and all men in a certain category. Some women, like, especially if you were an only child or the youngest and you were spoiled and you was a daddy's girl, then you don't expect to pay at all. You expect for the man to pamper you. But then some women, like, if you're like an independent type of woman, then you don't expect that. So I think it just depends on the woman. Really, it depends on the woman that you're dealing with.
I kind of agree, but I don't know, I've been having this debate loads because I hear all this stuff about girls being like, it's just completely unacceptable for a guy to not pay on the first date, like that would complete turn off, like, and all of these things. But then there's like this whole other side of like, oh no, it shouldn't be expected at all, and like in my relationship is very much like not that way. And basically I kind of agree with you that it's depending on the type of person. I don't really think that there is like a right or wrong. I think it's just kind of depending on the two people as well, because with certain people you know that they expect certain things, and like certain people you know that they can give those things, you know, whereas certain people you don't.
Yeah, I don't think women wanting a guy to pay means that they're not independent and we're not living in this like feminist society. Sometimes it's just a nice thing for someone to buy you dinner, and that's part of like the dating or courting process. Like, chivalry shouldn't have to die just because women want to be independent and strong.
Oh, definitely. But what I was gonna say was, when I was younger, someone told me, he said, if a woman wants to pay, that means you're not gonna get laid. Because if she pays, then she doesn't feel like obligated to do anything, so she just does it to like get the upper hand. So I always look out for that. I always look out for that. If I go on a date and the girl says, "Oh, I'll pay," or "We'll split," I'm like, okay, she's not interested. That's how I translate it. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's how I translate it.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing though, isn't it? Like then with the money comes like loads of girls feel like this expectation that they have to put out, and then like loads of guys think that girls have to put out what they pay for the date and stuff. But
Yeah.
I do, and then it's also a whole thing of like, oh no, this is a date, so you're paying. Otherwise, we would go halves. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing as well. So obviously, it is that other thing. But I guess like it in the most fucked up way. I do kind of think that it's true. Like I wouldn't really like if I didn't want to shag the guy, I probably would be like, okay, let's like go halves, because I'm like I'm not interested. You know, I want to like put that out there that I'm not interested. Whereas like if I was, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'll, like let you treat me, you know, so you see the temperature.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm so the opposite. I'm so the opposite.
Really?
If I know I don't want to sleep with the guy, I'll be like, yeah, pay, like get a free meal, free drinks. Like you have to get something out of it.
Fair enough. I feel like that's the better way to actually look. Like that makes a lot more sense, because if it's someone that you actually care about, then it's like, yeah, let's like, you know, split it. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why with the example that I said, I was like, oh, I'll split it because I feel bad. Like, I don't want to set the precedent going forward.
Wow.
Like, that's how it's going to be that you pay. I'd rather the precedent be, oh, we like take turns or whatever.
I see.
Wow, yeah, so those are both very, like, interesting. They're completely opposite ways of thinking, but I can see how both can be true. So that's why you can't assume a guy or girl. You can't assume. And again, I think it goes back to, not clustering all men or all women in a certain category. Like you were saying before, honey, you said the society, feminist movement, like women still want to be pampered and be independent at the same time. And I think that's where a lot of confusion comes in. People, they don't understand the balance. They think, if a woman, she's independent, then that means she doesn't want a relationship. I mean, there's a difference between codependence, independence, and interdependence. So that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and it can be mutually beneficial for both people. Like, just treat your man or treat your woman like they deserve it, especially if you really care about them. So
you have to balance the power.
Exactly.
So we asked, what's the most unbelievable or ridiculous thing someone has said or done to you on a date? And the first one is, are you just proving a point about your feminism by rejecting me?
So this is a question someone asked?
Yes, someone asked a girl
this person rejected a guy and he asked her that.
Wow. So he asked her if she was proving a point of feminism by rejecting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is ridiculous. He must not he must not understand what feminism means, and he must not understand that not everyone is gonna like you. It has nothing to do with feminism. It has to do with interests and personal choice. It's like, wow. That's a bit absurd. I mean, yeah.
It is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Just missing the point.
I mean, that right there, I can understand, where, the feminist movement, they talk about patriarchy and bigotry and all that type of stuff. That right there really does sound like it. It sounds like he feels entitled, like she's obligated to like him because he likes her, and she shouldn't have a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a bit ridiculous. Shame on him, man.
Yeah, shame on him.
Yeah, that's not cool at all.
Okay, well, speaking of chivalry and feminism, the next one is, one time right as we started having sex, he goes, "You have to get an Uber home after this."
Yeah, I saw that.
I can't believe that. That's so bad.
Yeah, that's
in
bad.
the middle of sex. Oh.
Yeah, at least say it before. Like,
well, at least say it after. I mean, don't.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you continue after? Yeah, how do you continue after that? I mean, I hope she didn't follow through with it. I hope she said, "You know what? Fuck this. I'm going home."
I think she followed through because I know this person and I've heard this story and I know she followed.
Oh boy. Yeah. He already made up his mind. He already know what he wanted. He didn't give a fuck. He just wanted to fuck, and that's it. That's all it was to him.
I feel like it's fair enough to just want to fuck, like how we were saying earlier on, like the chat before, and sometimes you just want to get it over and done with and stuff. I think that's fine, but like you don't have to say it right in the middle of sex. Like as we said, you could have said it before or after, and it's like it's still a bit like. I mean, it's not bad, like him wanting her to leave, but like, come on.
Yeah. That's fucking rude, man. You gotta be a bit considerate, You have to be. I wonder how she felt after that, man. I can only imagine someone feeling like shit. Someone saying some shit like, did she actually take an Uber after, or just right after she just got in an Uber and went home?
I'm guessing, I think so.
Probably.
Yeah, because if she spent the
we'll
night, that would have been an awkward.
Follow up on this story.
Yeah, because if she ended up staying, that'd be one awkward sleepover, if you will.
And also, it's like, why are you thinking about that in the middle of sex?
Yeah.
Like, it can't be that good.
Yeah.
Or you're just thinking about how you want the person to leave.
Maybe his wife was coming home soon or something. I don't know. That's what it
That
sounds
would
like.
be even worse.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Okay. Next one. A guy said to her, "Your porn star hot." And then she wrote, thanks, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a compliment.
Again, I feel like you have to know your audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What he's saying is, she has a lot of sex appeal. It had nothing to do with like who she is as a person or anything like that. He's just letting her know that he wants to fuck the shit out of her, really.
Yeah.
He wants to fuck
I think
her.
that's good intention.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that you really want to fuck someone, you really find them sexually attractive. I think you could have done a better job of relaying that message.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then the last one is that he takes his condoms with him after he sleeps with someone. Like, he's worried I'm going to inseminate myself with his seed. Like, no, thank you, hon.
This is a very, very interesting podcast. I mean, I must say, y'all have some very interesting... like a very interesting audience. When I read that, I just bust out laughing. I said, "That's fucking hilarious." I mean, I've seen shit like this like in movies, but I didn't know people actually do shit like that. But that's it's fucking insane. Well, it's funny. I can see where he's coming from only because a friend of mine, he told me that this girl that he was dating, she was so obsessed with trying to get pregnant that she would actually do that. She would actually take the condom and try to, She wanted to get pregnant and, so he was just like...
That's crazy.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he was like, man, this girl is fucking nuts. She actually tried that. Like, she didn't tell him. She did that a few times, and then she told him, she said, "Hey, by the way, just to let you know, what I've been doing is, when you leave, she would take off the condom and she would, like, hide it somewhere. And then, she said, when you leave, I've been doing that. Yeah. A guy actually told her that.
Fucked up.
Yeah,
Why
it's
would she
fucked up.
come clean about that? That's crazy.
Are you not so ashamed?
Yeah, she wasn't ashamed at all.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't think it's possible to get pregnant after. I mean,
I don't know.
Once,
It's her sperm.
once sperm
Her
hits the air,
sperm stays
it's done.
alive. Sorry.
No, sperm can't survive in air like that. So I don't understand. I mean, you have to be very skilled.
True. In air, it can live inside your vagina for 7 days.
Yeah,
but probably not just like in the condom.
Yeah, so you have
she
to
was
be
just
skilled.
hoping.
Yeah, she was trying to just hoping for the best, I guess. I don't know, but it is fucking insane though.
Oh god,
that is crazy. When we say that men like have the audacity, this is women having the audacity to do crazy shit. Like, this is why feminism is failing. Not because this is why feminism is failing if people do shit like that, not people rejecting random guys.
In my opinion, men do fucked up shit, women do fucked up shit. The only difference is women actually talk about the fucked up shit that men do. Publicly, men don't talk about fucked up shit that women do. And if you do, you just talk about it in private. So no one really knows what fucked up shit women do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you to our listeners for sending your crazy date stories.
Very crazy date stories. Very interesting. They need to all write books.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll compile a book of every submission we've ever got.
That would be interesting.
Okay, so Manny, you told us that you started with matchmaking and then you became a relationship coach. So could you kind of give us a brief overview as to like how you got into matchmaking and how that led to your career as a relationship coach?
I think I always was a matchmaker at heart, ever since I was a kid. So, for example, when I was a little kid, when I was in 4th grade, there was this guy. He had this crush on this girl, and he came up to me. It was like, I really like so and so, and blah blah blah, and like little elementary school crush. So then I said, then go talk to her. He said, I'm shy. I said, just give me 1 second. I went up to her and I said, look, so and so like you. I remember her name was Jessica. I don't remember what his name was. So I said, Jessica, we'll just say Billy. Billy likes you. And she said, really? Like, yeah, why don't you, you know what I mean? So then I set them up, and next thing you know, they were boyfriend and girlfriend walking, holding hands at recess. And then, I know I've done that several times, even in high school. I did that for a friend of mine's. Same thing. He had this crush on this girl, and I did the same thing. I don't know. I just always had a natural ability to connect to people. So I got into matchmaking because, I had this idea for this book for a long time. I had ideas for several books. So I was actually going to start off with a different book talking about, what to look for in a partner and that kind of stuff. So, that's how I started the matchmaking. But then I realized, I can set you up on 100 dates, but if you don't figure out what you're doing wrong, then it doesn't even matter who I set you up with. So then I realized, I gotta take it one step down and do the coaching, because I think I can help people with the coaching as well, because my whole life, ever since I started dating pretty much, I would always try to analyze things, and, I was always like the shy kid when I was younger. So I learned how to like get out of the shyness, and then, I became quite a, ladies' man eventually. And so I figured out, I figured out how to, maneuver the dating scene. Yeah. So I figured I can help people with that. And also with the matchmaking, it's funny. I don't know if you've seen the movie Hitch with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started the matchmaking business, I put it on Facebook, and people, I guess it's like here in the States, people are not really too familiar with what matchmaking is. So when I run into people, they said, yeah, I saw you posted something about matchmaking. Oh, wow. What is that? Are you like some kind of, are you like a hitch? Do you like, I even had people asking me if it was an escort service. I had people asking me all types of shit. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, I'm trying to help people find the one, and you talking about an escort service. Not saying that there's anything wrong. I mean, if you're an adult, you do what you want, but it's like, but that's not what I'm doing. So it's like, for branding purposes, it was like so hard for me to like brand myself, because people didn't even know like what I was doing. So I was like, if people around me, my friends and even family members, don't even know what the hell matchmaking is, and I was like, okay, let me do something that everyone knows what it is. Everyone knows what a relationship coach is. I mean, you guys are from the UK. Matthew Hussey, right? I think he's from the UK or Australia, one of them, somewhere.
I think he's from the UK.
Okay, the accent was, I couldn't tell. Yeah, it sounds more British. It's a similar accent, but yeah, it sounds more British. I'm pretty sure he's from the UK, and he's a relationship coach. Mm-hmm. So everyone knows like a relationship coach, and but when you say matchmaker, people are like, what the fuck is that? So I decided to like literally. Yeah. So I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what matchmaking was. It was literally one day. No, like seriously, I was sitting one day. It was like, I think it was like February or March. It was like 5-6 years ago. I'm sitting there on the couch watching TV, and I see a commercial for a matchmaking company. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I watched the commercial, and then I Googled it and I looked it up. I'm like, this is interesting. So then I called them and pretended I need matchmaking service, and then they were telling me their prices. I'm like, so this is how much you guys charge? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get into this. This is the business for me. And I was already like working on the book, a different book at the time, but I needed something like, I guess you could say like a title to go along with the book. So I said, you know what? This is it. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the matchmaking.
Yeah.
But again, it was just so hard. Like, marketing and, promoting myself. And, it was hard, like, don't take this the wrong way, but, matchmaking is a female-dominated industry, so it was, like, hard for me to, like, get into the matchmaking industry, but relationship coaching, I wouldn't say it's male-dominated, but it's a lot more common to find male relationship coaches than male matchmakers, so I figured it was just easier to, like, promote and to people to understand, again, what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah, that makes
people not think I'm some kind of a pimp or some kind of a... like, literally, people thought I was a pimp, like, or, some sort of an escort service, like... and the people, like, literally, I would literally, like, so I still have the Google listing. My company's based out of Miami, and I would literally get emails and calls from, like, creeps asking me, hey, man, how much do you get laid? Do you have any call girls? I'm like, dude, this isn't a escort service. This isn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go to your local brothel or something, bro. This isn't what this is, man. Like, go to the boulevard somewhere. Like, this isn't what I'm doing. So, it's fucked up, but
yeah.
That's pretty much how I got to relationship coaching and why.
People are always looking to get laid.
Yeah, well, and there's nothing wrong with that, It's just you have to know, go on Tinder to get laid. Don't go on Match.com.
Yeah.
Don't go on eHarmony, because the girls on eHarmony, they're looking for a husband. They're not trying to get laid. So if you go on there, going for one of those girls, you're just gonna waste their time. Plenty of girls on Tinder that just want to hook up too. There's nothing wrong with just wanting to hook up. You just have to go to the right platform or the right place. Sure. Or whatever, and find the right person that also wants the same thing. Other than that, you're leading someone on, or you're gonna break someone's heart.
So you said that, like, when you, I don't know, matchmaking, you were kind of like, yeah, well, I can find whoever for whoever, but if you're not gonna, like, fix yourself or work on yourself and work on what you're doing wrong, like, it's not going to go anywhere. What were, like, some of the things that you kind of found that people kept, like, the mistakes that people kept making, even if you matched them with a great match for them or whatever? Like, what were some of the things that you were like, oh, maybe it's more of, like, an inward problem and I should focus more on that?
Okay. Like, let's say, for example, a girl that she always date the bad boys and she falls in love and they end up breaking her heart. She hasn't learned from that mistake. So if she comes to me or she go to any matchmaker and she says, I'm looking for this guy, this type of guy, and you actually pair her with that type of guy, according to what she's looking for, then she just gets her heart broken. Now you look like the bad guy. It's like, you're the expert. You should have known better. I'm like, I'm doing a service. My expertise is being able to find exactly what you're looking for, because you don't have time, because you're a busy person. Matchmaking is for, like, busy professionals that don't have time. So, like, for example, one of my first clients, same thing. She wanted a certain type of guy. I found that certain type of guy, and it didn't work out. And years later, she's a single mom. I hope it's not that guy that just impregnated her and left her. If that was the case, then I'd feel bad. But I hope that's not the case. But the point is like, she wanted a certain type of guy, and then it didn't work out, and neither one would tell me exactly what happened. So I was like, what happened? Did he break your heart? Like, she just ended up hating the guy. So I'm like, okay, so if you end up hating the guy and that's the type of guy you're looking for, well, that's probably why. I think she was like 37 or something. I'm like, that's probably why you're 37 and single. Probably because you have a fixated, like, interest in a certain type of guy, and all you did was help me help your habits.
Yeah.
I was like, what did that prove? So I'm like, what you need to find out what you're doing wrong. Now, I'm not a counselor. The difference between a coach and a counselor, tries to find the root of the problem and don't necessarily try to fix the problem. They try to help you, like, heal from the problem. But a coach is not trying to find the root of the problem. They just know, okay, this is a problem and we're going to fix that problem. It's like if I'm a basketball coach and, one of my players keeps missing, the shots, I'm going to tell them, look, position your feet like this, position your hands like this, shoot like this. I don't care that you got injured last week and you're trying to recuperate. That's not my job. That's the team doctor's job. My job is to tell you this is what you do moving forward.
Yeah.
If a girl dates the same kind of guy, maybe it could be rooted from daddy issues or whatever the case may be. I'm not authorized to diagnose that. That's what a counselor or therapist is for. I'm just here to say, look, this is what you're doing wrong. You keep on going for the same type of guy. This is what you need to do instead, based off of expertise and knowledge of how things work, how dating work. So I'm like, okay, this is the type of guy you need to go for. I mean, there's a saying, your type could be the reason why you're single.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, it was like 10 years ago. I used to live in Atlanta, and I was friends with this guy. He was like 6'2", a blonde guy. And he said his whole life he only liked Hispanic women. He only dated like specifically South American women. You had to be from like Ecuador, Peru or something. And that's all he dated. And he literally tried something different. He dated an Italian girl and got married within a year. And this was like 10 years ago. Till this day, he's still married with her and have kids. The point I'm trying to get across is like sometimes you just have to try something different. Your type might be the reason why you're single. It could be the reason why it's not working out. And not necessarily, it doesn't have to be like ethnic or anything like that. It could be, you know, again, a woman that she only dates bad boys or she only dates men with money or whatever the case may be. She only dates tall guys or whatever the case may be. Like, but that's where the coaching comes into play. Like, I can't be a matchmaker and match you with the reason why you're getting hurt. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to tell you, okay, this is the type of guy you need to go for instead because you have a better chance of things working out.
Yeah, for sure. So how can you know what kind of guy you should be looking for based on what kind of person you are?
For starters, what I like to call the emotional alpha scale, right? So, you know, in anthropology, you know, there's omegas, there's betas, there's alphas, right? And it's scientifically and statistically proven that the more alpha someone is, male or female, the less likely they are to want to settle down, want to get married, things like that. And the more omega someone is, the more likely they are to want to get married and settle down. So that's why you see, you know, someone that's like very sexual, there's nothing wrong with that because that's in your nature. You know, testosterone increases sex drive. And women have testosterone. Men obviously have testosterone. And the more testosterone you have, the more sexual you will be. And you're being an alpha or mega, beta, that's like predetermined, like in your mother's womb. You know what I mean? You're like, you're just born an alpha or you're born a beta, born an omega male. There's like nothing you can do about it. So my point is, men date down, women date up. So a lot of women, she can be like the biggest omega female there is. And she can be like a huge, what we call in the States, a sucker for love. You know, she can be a helpless romantic. And then she's going to date this extra emotionless guy who just wants to have sex with whoever, whenever. And he's just this big alpha. And then she just sits there and, you know, she's like being faithful and being a cheerleader and trying to, you know, support him and trying to get him to commit. It's like, that's not going to work. It's not going to happen. If you're an omega female, you need to find an omega male who's equally like as emotional as you. I mean, it's just like, you know, if you go to MIT or something, right? You're going to, like, you know, the technical university, you know, nerds are dating nerds. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm some sort of a tech geek, I'm probably going to date a tech geek, you know? If I'm a football player, captain of the football team in high school, I'm probably going to date the cheerleader. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's like people have to date within their leagues. It's not just like wise. It's emotional wise. It's you know, Tinder versus Match.com. You know what I mean? You can't be someone who should be going on Match.com and you're going on Tinder looking for love. It's just not gonna happen.
So
Okay.
is this alpha omega spectrum sort of like to do with how sexual you are and like how committal you are and how like emotional you are? Like, would you say that
Yeah.
that's a criteria, or like Is it just more like a vibe? Like, how can you tell like which one you fall under? What if you're like, oh, I'm not sure?
That's a very, very good question. And I think most people struggle with that. Even I myself, for years I struggled with that. And I mean, it has to do with nature, it has to do with nurture as well. But I mean, again, it's based off of what you usually go for. And again, it's natural. Like, okay, I don't want to get. I know this is supposed to be like fun, and I don't want to get too like. I don't want to like nerd out right now.
You can get
But
deep.
Nerd
You can
out.
get as deep as you want.
okay. So there's a hormone called oxytocin, right? And oxytocin, it makes you attach to someone. And in your brain, there's something called oxytocin receptors, pretty much like produced oxytocin. And science shows that the more social someone is or the nicer someone is, the more oxytocin receptors they're likely to have. So in other words, nicer people tend to get attached faster and easier than more cold-hearted, mean people. So it goes along with the notion, the more alpha you are, the less likely you are to just want to settle down. And the more omega you are, the more likely you are to want to settle down, and the more likely you are to catch feelings and fall in love with someone. So I think it's important for people to be comfortable with who they are. Like guys in particular, if I'm some average Joe and I see these guys in the Jersey Shore, fist pumping and, those type of fist pump guys, and they got the gelled hair and the muscle shirts and the tattoos, and they just all buff and tough, and they go on and they're getting laid and they're getting all the girls. That's them, and that's fine. But if I'm just regular average Joe Schmo, I can't just sit there and try to be like those guys and pretend and go after the type of girls that they go after, and I'm just gonna get chewed up, or I might end up falling in love, and then she's just like, bro, this is not what I'm looking for, like,
Yeah.
So, and vice versa, that's why it's important for people to know who they are and go for people who are, just like them.
Yeah.
What if you're like a beta and you're attracted to alphas? Like, what, you're just, tough?
That's a very good question. The reason why is because majority of people are betas. Alphas are a very small group of, society. Like, there's only one chief in a village and a whole bunch of villagers, right? So the point is, that's the tough part. Women are attracted to alphas. So that's why you'll find, like, the one guy that has 10 girlfriends, but then 10 guys that are all single.
Yeah.
Those 10 guys, they're all betas, and they're all they're all trying to, go after these girls, but they're all competing for that one alpha. So it's at your discretion, really. I think it's smarter for betas to date betas. And, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially if you're like already attracted to alphas and that's what you tend to go for. Only thing I would say, I mean, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, the way I like to break it down is 1, 2, 3 are omegas, 4 and 5 are like minor betas, 6 and 7 are major betas, and 8, 9, and 10 are alphas. So if you're like on a higher end, if you're like a 7 on the scale, then I don't see no problem dating an alpha. Maybe not a 10, maybe an 8, 8.5. But if you're lower on the scale, if you're like a 4, you barely made it to the beta category, there's no reason for you to be dating someone that's way up in the 10, Like, I'm trying to create like a visualization.
Yeah.
So like me personally, I would consider myself a 7 or 8.
Okay.
7 on a bad day or on a good day. 8 if I'm like pumping iron, going to the gym, lifting weights. I'd consider myself an 8. But I don't think I can ever be a 9 or a 10. That's me personally. So that's why, and truthfully, I've always been the type of guy where, how like guys, they like going for like the sweetheart, the soft girl. I always felt like that's just like what are you doing? Like it's like you're trying to take advantage. Like I've always liked the aggressive girls. You know, the girls that were like the 10s. But it's like, but you're more alpha than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're a woman and you're a 10 on the alpha scale, you're going for the 10s. And that's why those big macho guys that are 6'4" were outdoing me. Because I was going for the girls that, you know, usually go for them. Mm-hmm. So, you know, then I had to take it down a notch to say, okay, let me stop going for like the extra sexy, extra, you know, the type of girls that the athletes would date. Like, I'm no match for some football player or some, you know, basketball star, you know. So.
But I can imagine it's quite hard for men. I mean, it's hard for women too, but in terms of this idea of masculinity, and we're fed all of these ideas of what a man should be. So what advice do you give to men to not try to live up to being the alpha when they're not? Like, how can they just accept that they're a beta or an omega?
I think it's important for society to first stop conditioning men to be, you know, extra physical, extra sexual. Manhood is not just about masculinity, it's about maturity as well. Mm-hmm. Like, for me personally, growing up, my father, he never taught me how to fight. He never taught me how to get girls. He never taught me anything. Anything that would be considered masculine, that was what my uncles were for. You know, my mother's brothers they're all alphas, you know. That's why, you know, my arms are so big. It's natural. I don't even have to go to the gym. You know, my mother's side, like her brothers, they're all like big tough guys. So they kind of, you know, taught me how to like fight and, you know, that kind of stuff. But my father's nowhere near an alpha male. So my father actually, growing up, he was a nerd. So, you know, my father, he kind of focused on teaching me how to be, you know, disciplined, how to be a man, how to be organized, how to have, you know, morals and things like that. So that's why, you know, I'm not like this extra aggressive douchebag, if you will, because, you know, my father taught me how to be a human being first, instead of, you know, focusing on masculine aggression 24/7. I mean, if a guy wants to fight me, not like I'm gonna say, oh no, sorry, I'm scared. You know, I you know, it's like, okay, I know how to defend myself, but I'm not just going out there picking fights.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys, they go out there, they pick fights for no reason. They're just trying to show how tough they are, or, you know, their whole purpose in life is to get laid as many times as you possibly can to prove that you're a man. Like, for example, when I was like 21 years old, I used to be a club promoter in Atlanta. And one day, a bunch of guys, it was like 5 or 6 of us, we were sitting there having a conversation. And this guy he mentioned, he said that his father told him when he was a kid, he said, if you're still a virgin by the time you're 16, I will pay for a prostitute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And on his 16th birthday, he asked him, are you still a virgin? You better not still be a virgin, because if you are, he pulled out money, said, I will literally get a prostitute right now to lose your virginity. I'm not raising a little bitch for a son. Yeah. That's toxic masculinity at its finest. Yeah. That's like, he's only 16 and you're already concerned about his sexuality and already concerned that, you know, he has to be this tough guy and he has to get all the ladies. And it's like, okay, but, you know, how's he doing in school? You know, what's his mental health like? Mm-hmm. You know, does he have social skills? Is he organized? Is he disciplined? Can he raise kids? Can he be a husband? You know, and it's like that goes missing a lot in society. I think it's important for people, both men and women, to understand that you can't just expect a man to just be an aggressive macho fighter 24/7. I mean, if you're trying to get laid and you want the manliest, most masculine guy out there, I mean, that's fine. But if you're trying to settle down, you're trying to find a husband, you can't make that your only criteria.
Yeah.
Where it's like you find this tough guy and now you fall in love with him and you want to get married to him, because that's not real love. That's just infatuation. You think you're in love. You're just in love with the idea of having this sexy, attractive alpha male.
Yeah.
But it's like, what else does he bring to the table? You know, do you two get along? Do you have a bond? Do you have a connection? Are you compatible? And I think a lot of women, they disregard that once they get, this dominant, sexy alpha male. And then actually, they've been with the guy for 10 years and they're still not married. And they're still saying, what are we?
Yeah.
Like, literally, I've seen it. I've seen it. It's like he just kept you around for 10 years because it was guaranteed sex. He never had any intention to marry you. And he tried to let you know, but you didn't care because you had your mind made up that you just really liked this guy because he was so sexy and dominant and attractive. And, I think it's important for women to be more realistic.
Yeah.
And not just, think sexually, like as in like looking for the most sexually attractive man.
Yeah.
When it comes to a partner.
Yeah, so it's definitely a problem for everyone. Like, it's not just men have to try and be more masculine. It's also women have to stop seeing men as holding all the power and the alpha male is the best kind of man. And so you think that, like, knowing yourself, and this is also what we always talk about on the podcast, that knowing yourself and accepting who you are is going to help you in the long run in getting and finding someone to be in a relationship with. But yeah, I think that's really, it's a good way of thinking about it, this alpha beta scale, because I think the words alpha and beta are thrown around a lot in terms of men, but it's not really applied to women. But that's just like automatically assuming that all women are just like out of that scale, and then men hold all of this power.
Yeah, see, the thing is, society act like, and a lot of relationship coaches act like all men are alphas and all women are omegas. Yeah. And that's not true. It's just that we're focusing on the women who are hurt, which are more likely the omegas because they have more sensitivity and just, take things more personal. So they're the ones that are going to the Matthew Hussies and stuff like that, and are the most vocal about a guy had sex with her and she never heard from him ever again. But the alpha female, she don't give a fuck because she was never going to call him back anyway. She just wanted a quick fix herself.
Yeah.
But then the omega female, she thought it was going to grow into a big romance. So now it just looks like all women are omega females who are looking for romance, but there are alpha females out there who just want to have sex, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think they should get more recognition, in a sense, like for people to know that it exists.
Yeah.
Because now a man who's an alpha and he wants to just get laid, he doesn't realize that there are alpha females out there who also just want to get laid. Go to them. Leave the omega females alone. Stop stringing them along thinking that, okay, this is going to be easy. Yeah, it's going to be easy because they're emotionally vulnerable, But the alpha females, it's going to be easy too because they're speaking the same language as you. They're like, hey, you want to have sex? I want to have sex. Let's have sex. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's like, don't string along the vulnerable women, Two people having sex that just want to just have sex and get it over with. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like alpha males should stick with the alpha females and leave the omega females alone. And also, it's important for people to understand, people have a misconception of what beta means. People translate beta as omega. Like, people think that it's just either you're a beta or you're an alpha. It's like you're either Steve Urkel. I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Urkel.
No.
It's probably before your time. Like Bill Gates, like, he's a nerd, you know what I mean? He's not like this big, tough macho guy. He's definitely an omega male, But people act like it's either you're Bill Gates or you're, I don't know, John Cena. You familiar with John Cena? The wrestler? You know what I mean? He's this big, tough wrestler guy, It's like people act like you're either John Cena or you're Bill Gates. That's why men have this, what I call a constant quest for manhood. Because they feel like, man, if I'm not a John Cena, then I'm just going to be a Bill Gates. And that's how a lot of women see it too. It's like, okay, so you're not a big tough guy, so they automatically see you as like this nerd weakling.
Yeah.
But it's like, but there are men in the middle. That's what beta really is. It's just your average Joe, your average Jane. You know, but people literally forget about the omegas and act as if it's either alpha or beta. But no, there's nothing wrong with being an omega either. But what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with being a beta, because grand majority of people are betas. And if people understand that, men, when they constantly try to be as masculine as possible and try to force themselves to be sexually aggressive, and women, when it force themselves to be as submissive and as emotional as possible, because again, if you're a woman that's an alpha female, you're not really like a submissive type of person. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think women also have this expectation where they have to be weak.
Yeah.
It's not true and it's not right. And I'm not saying that, you know, there's something wrong with being omegas. I'm just saying, like, if you're someone, like, you're a woman, you're powerful, you're a dominant type of woman, it's okay to be yourself. You shouldn't have to be forced to being like this weak, powerless woman. And some women, they like that. They want to just be powerless. They want her man to be in control. They want him to, you know, they want to just be submissive, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You shouldn't like force all women to play that role if they don't want to. That's not who they are naturally.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think it's a lot about like knowing being honest to yourself about what you want and like what the person in front of you is offering. I think a lot of the times we sort of, men and women, turn this sort of like blind eye, and to like put it in terms of the alpha beta thing. Like, let's say a beta woman is kind of like trying to get with this alpha male, and like the guy is not really giving signs that he wants to commit or anything, and the girl is just kind of pushing it, and it's like months and months, and he's like, and she's like, oh, he still doesn't want to commit and stuff. When like, I feel like from the start in those situations you can tell what the intentions are, and I feel like if everyone's a bit more, obviously everyone can be a bit more honest about what those intentions are. I think we're not that good at that some of the time, but if everyone's just like honest about what they want and like know what they want, and hear the person when they're telling you what it is they want as well, then it can just be a lot smoother. Because like guys as well, like, I don't know, they kind of, I think that a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, but I told her we were never anything, she's the one that kept like pushing her or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but you're also aware that she clearly isn't taking it that way. So it's like both sides kind of like need to take a little bit of accountability and be like, okay, this is like the kind of person I am, this is what I'm looking for, this is the kind of person they are, this is what they're looking for, and this doesn't align, so like let's just move on, rather than try to make that align. Because it's like that with everything, not even just this like alpha beta spectrum. It's like attachment styles, like all sorts of things that we talk about all the time, you know.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the problem I have with relationship coaches is they always attack the men. You know, like you said, okay, you was clearly aware that she didn't take it that way. Why are you stringing her along? But no one is telling these women, leave him alone. If he's showing no interest, stop forcing it. Stop trying to convince him that. Instead, a lot of these so-called gurus, they encourage these women, you know, if your man doesn't want to commit, this is what you do. Right? You have to give him an ultimatum, and you have to do this. And all you're doing, you're just making her fall deeper and deeper into his trap. Instead of giving her the strength to walk away. You need to encourage her to just walk away, because there's another man out there that's not going to string you along, and he's emotionally compatible with you, and he wants to settle down just like you do. But instead, they're telling these women, just never give up, and you have to keep on fighting and keep on trying. And that's not a woman's job. It's a man's job to get the girl. Like, we're trying to, like, women, you're the treasure, right? It's like, I never seen a treasure try to convince, like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, come get me. I'm a treasure. Come get me. You know what I mean? Yeah. A man sees a person sees a treasure, and you go for the treasure. A treasure shouldn't have to convince someone that, hey, I'm a treasure. Come get me.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think the biggest reason is because, I'm gonna get a little deep, is women are not obligated to take no for an answer, right? Because what is the guy gonna say? You know, she's harassing me, she won't leave me alone. What are you going to say? No one's going to take you seriously. Like, for example, there's a movie, I'm a lot older than you too, so, I'm 33, about to be 34. And there's a movie, Eddie Murphy, I don't know if you're familiar with Eddie Murphy. Mm-hmm. One of his first movies back in like the early 90s, he was like my age now. He was probably like 32 or 33. And he played as like a executive for like a marketing company. And then there was an older woman who was like 70 years old. And she was like really attracted to him. But he needed, I think that was like his boss or someone that he was trying to do business with or something. Mm-hmm. So she told him, why don't you, come to my house to, discuss business or whatever. And he thought, yeah, it's just, he didn't think of nothing of it. So when he gets there, she's in lingerie. He's like, don't know what to do. He ended up sleeping with her because what was he supposed to do? She could just grab him, and what is she going to say? Like, get off of me? She's going to be like, what the hell? You're scared of pussy? Like, pardon my French. You know what I mean? It's like, It's like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So he ended up sleeping with her. And a lot of guys been in situations like that, where a girl's just coming on to you and it's just like, fuck am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's like women, they're not obligated to take no for an answer, so they're not going to take no for an answer. So, and I think that's something that does need to change. Like, women have to be okay with rejection. If you reject a woman, she will be so mad. I've heard a lot of stories. She'll be like, oh yeah, you're gonna reject me? Oh, I'm gonna ruin your life. So that's part of it. Women have to be okay with the man saying that I'm not interested. It's like, as a man, you're just obligated to be interested in whoever's interested in you, or else you're in the wrong.
I sort of see what you mean, but I kind of completely disagree. But I also do kind of see it because for instance, like with my boyfriend, like how I pursued him before we started going out, and like how I literally just like wasn't taking no for an answer pretty much. And like what I did, if a guy did that to me, it would be perceived very differently. And I'm still like just accepting this double standard for myself because it's myself. So I will, adopt the double standard. But Honey and I talk about this on the podcast all the time, that like I think it's kind of the other way around. Like I think girls, when they get rejected, like feel this rejection so much that they'll kind of just like leave it. Whereas I think guys will, like, if a girl says no, they'll kind of just like keep going. So I don't know, I think as everything we've been saying, it comes down person to person, but I do see what you're saying. Like, I do think it's kind of like very interesting. Like, I kind of just clock this double standard that I hold for myself. So
yeah, every guy been there. We all been there. And it's like, I'm not interested. But I do see what you're saying, and I think it boils down to the person. And, some people are more competitive than others. So, like, let's say a woman, she's like a very competitive person. She's not going to take no for an answer. Or, again, dating is very psychological. Let's say a man, he's a ladies' man and he has all these women around him. And then, a woman's, they're all competing with each other. Like, you see that a lot. And I call them contenders. And they're not going to take no for an answer because it's a pride thing. It's an ego thing. It's like all these women are all competing for that one guy. You want to be the winner. Mm-hmm. So he can string you along or stand you up or not answer your calls, but you're going to keep fighting because psychologically you're in a stance of like, I have to win. Mm. So you're going to keep on fighting. You're going to keep on going. Yeah. And to be honest with you, it is part of the secrets of the guy code. I explain that a lot in my book. A lot of men know how to put you in a competitive state where, you're just going to tolerate anything. Like, okay, for example, let's say I have a girlfriend, right? And I get another girl pregnant and she's just like, you know what? Fuck you. And she just dumps me right then and there. But then another guy can do the exact same thing. He can have a girlfriend, get another woman pregnant, and she'll just say, I forgive you. Now that just makes her want him more because now she realizes that someone else wants him. It's like people want what other people want. Mm-hmm. If a new phone comes out, I mean, every time the iPhone releases, everyone's just rushing to the Apple store to get an iPhone because everyone else has an iPhone.
Yeah.
But if it was like an unpopular phone, no one else would want it because it's an unpopular phone. So it's the same way psychologically. A lot of women, it's like, oh man, that girl wants my man. Okay, so now I got to fight even harder to keep him because I have too much pride. I don't want another girl to have him. I don't want to lose him to another girl. But then another girl would say, you know what? You can kick rocks. Fuck you. Because she wasn't in that, like, competitive mind state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, I feel like we always talk about power dynamics, but it's definitely a lot more nuanced than everyone makes it out to be. And that's such a large part of the problem. Like, we need to understand that it's not just black and white. Like, it's really not in any way. And there's so many different situations and different kinds of people that we have to take into account. Yeah, I think it's something that everyone can use going forward. I think your scale is really interesting and it's a good way of measuring things. And I hope
Thank you.
like our listeners kind of take that into account and try and, as we're always saying, try to know yourself more before you like get yourself into a relationship with someone and then you realize like a couple of years down the line, this is like not the dynamic that I want to have.
Yeah.
And also it's not nice to like be forcing someone else to be someone they're not. It just makes everyone miserable. So yeah.
Definitely.
And just keep thinking about how you're that treasure. Like, you don't need to beg someone to take the treasure. That's actually, I'm going to keep that forever in my mind now. I'm a treasure and I shouldn't beg someone to take me.
Yeah.
That's going to be a quote on our Instagram. Like, keep your eyes out.
Yeah. You have to follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. And tag me on that too.
So,
Tag me on
do you want to tell everyone where they can find you and where they can find your work and your upcoming book?
So I'm on all social media as I am Manny Santana. I am Manny, Manny, Santana, Santana. I am Manny Santana. That's my Instagram. That's my Facebook. That's my Twitter. And that's my TikTok. And that's my Clubhouse. I'm on Clubhouse now too. So as far as my work, I'm redoing the book. So that'll be out at a later time. But for now, I'm working on a masterclass. So you can go on to secretsoftheguidecode.com. And I'm going to launch a masterclass next month so people could, register for it. And it's going to be a 6-week program. So everything that I'm like explaining here, I'm going to like really dissect it. And there's like so much more. Like there's so much more stuff that I can say that there's no way I'd have time to say. And, I'm just going to break down all these dynamics. Full disclosure, I'm going to nerd out too. I'm going to really, really nerd out.
Okay, well, I think we should wrap up because it's getting quite long, but thank you so much for joining us and
I appreciate it.
Giving us an insight into your perspective on dating and teaching us about alpha, beta and omega. We've never talked about that before on the show, so that was really interesting.
Thank you.
And I hope your book is going to be a bestseller. I'm definitely going to buy it.
I appreciate it.
When it comes out.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, I hope all our listeners go check out your courses and your social media. But thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was definitely a pleasure. I had a great time. I'm very passionate about it. I want to get my message out there. I want to help people. But yeah, again, it was a pleasure. I appreciate it. And, once again, I am Manny Santana. That's, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, and TikTok. And my website is mannysantana.com. If people want to email me, they can ask questions. They can email me at coaching@mannysantana.com. And lastly, if they want to join my masterclass for 6 weeks, they go to secretsoftheguidecode.com and they can register there.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll link all of it down below so everyone can find you. Okay, well, as always, you guys know where to find us on Instagram at Sextras Podcast, Facebook Sextras Podcast. Our website is www.sextraspodcast.com. We would love it if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and also don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening, because we have a bonus episode coming out very, very soon. We promise we'll be here soon, and it's a really good one filled with all of your amazing submissions, so keep an eye out for that, and we will see you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to Sextras, presented by Honey Jane Wyatt and Maria Jose Hayodatiyi. Produced by Mabel Productions.